Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday evening to all of you. It's not our usual Sunday, but I'm so glad we are here together. Thank you guys for working with the reschedule time because I was on a video shoot all of the weekend. And let's see. Okay, we're live. And I'd love to know where you guys are tuned in from. Live, as always, on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. And about to be live on Instagram. So if you guys are tuned in right now, I'd love to know where you're watching from and how your Monday is going. All right, we're going to start up Instagram. Believe it or not, hey, Instagram, what's up? Happy Monday. Believe it or not, I'm still drinking my coffee because I usually have 2 cups a day, and this is the second cup. Shiny Sundays with Grace Kelly. Sunny Sundays, except it's Monday with Grace Kelly. Grab your tea, or if you prefer coffee. Lovely Mondays, evening Mondays with me. Hello, David Briggs. Hi, Guzmana from Moscow. Wow, from Rio, Brazil. Hi, Guy Jonathan. Hello from New York. That's where I am as well. Hello, Instagram friends. I'm so glad you guys could join me at this rescheduled time. Got some emojis going on. Somebody just did a mad face. Yesterday, I was actually with my good friend, brilliant saxophonist Leo Pellegrino. You guys know him well, I'm sure. And we were making some new 2-saxy material for you guys. Hi, sister! And I'm really excited to share it with you. It'll probably be a quick second before we get it out online because we have a few things to piece together. Hello, Adriana on Instagram. But we had so much fun. We had a marathon day. Instinct 022 is saying, can you tell us about the shoot? Yeah, so Leo is in town for a few days. He's unfortunately not here on the stream. I know some of you are asking. And we got together and we're just like rehearsing some new material. He has a really cool new song. I'll give you a little sneak peek of what it sounds like. I'm not going to give away the whole song, but anyways, that was a little bit of one of the songs that we worked on together. And it was really fun. We did a bunch of new choreography, and then we went out to the park, and we found this really great spot that had all of these like benches and started to do choreography on the benches. Hi, Logan. Hi, 8000 Ice. Hi, Magnus. Wow, in Norway. Very, very cool. And we were starting to draw a crowd. It was funny. We were just like rehearsing out in the park because it was such a beautiful day. We're actually trying to be really low key about it. Because when we're working things out, it's like you start, you stop, and you start and you stop. And there were a lot of little strollers and babies and families, and they were just like all watching us. So we're starting to feel very self-conscious. But we started to come up with another 2-saxy future video. But the thing you guys will be seeing in the near future is kind of an expanded version of the 2-saxy. I won't say more than that. I don't want to give it all away. Dubstepping, instinct saxing. Leah's always got some dubstep saxophone happening in there. So a little bit, yeah. And then my friend Sheesh, who has been the one who's filmed the Two Saxy project, he came from Boston and he did a really sick fashion shoot with us for the rest of the day. So we got some very different looks going on. And we posted some of them on Instagram, and there's more coming. That was really exciting to just kind of try on a different wardrobe, and then posing together is always fun. And it's always really funny for me because when we do shoots where we like stare at each other, I just end up laughing really hard. But anyways, I'm glad to see so many of you are excited about it and love the project. It's always a pleasure getting to work with Leo and Sheesh. We have a really good time. Hi, Mom. Are you home yet? Yes, my mom's mentioning my earrings. These are actually custom made and they were gifted from a friend named Helen, and they're beautiful. I love them. And there's actually a treble clef right under them. She gave me these beautiful orange ones and white ones, and my shirt actually like has these flowers on it. So I feel very springy, summery, even though we're kind of in fall right now. Hi Marcellus from LA. How you doing? Hi Rod. Thanks for joining, friends. Um, so tonight's unfortunately is going to be a little bit shorter than usual because I have something at 8, but I did want to just hang out and say hi. And I'm glad you guys could all meet on the new time tonight. Thanks for staying tuned with that. Do you guys have any questions or song requests? There's a great YouTube song request earlier that I'm going to definitely play. And if you have any friends that are online right now, I bet you do, invite them in while we're live. I know I've also been sharing the news about this live stream with some saxophone Instagram friends who had some saxophone questions. So as always, I like to kind of like cover some music nerd stuff, and then I have some favorite questions from the week. 8,000, I say, can you explain how Leo does the kazoo thing with a mouthpiece? Me and friends want to know because it's so weird. It's pretty wild. I don't know how he does that. I mean, I can kind of do my own overtone thing, but it doesn't sound anything like that. Oh yeah, Jonathan was asking for an overtone gliss, so it kind of would sound something like that. It's obviously going to sound different on alto versus on Barry. It's a really cool sound that he makes. We did talk a bit about sound and overtones, and one thing that we both do that might be helpful to other saxophonists is at some point when you get to those much higher squeaks and notes, it's not about your fingerings. I think it's actually more about just like creating an open space in your throat and like singing a really high note. It was interesting talking about it, that we both kind of do that. He was mentioning, and I do this too, it was an interesting discovery, that he actually doesn't even know the official altissimo fingerings. At some point, he just kind of like gets it with his throat. So that's a huge thing about overtones, that if you can hear it in your head and you kind of just like position your throat, because saxophone is very much like singing. So I always tell my students and my Skype students, when we work on sound, it's really important to hear the sound and then you play it. Because there's something about when you prepare your throat for the tone and the sound, it's like you're singing. You know, if you want to kind of darken your sound, there's something that happens with your throat where everything gets rounder. And I tell my students, you want to get more of an ooh sound, and that's going to create like literally a dark ooh with your throat, and then it translates right onto the saxophone. Ooh. So here's like a bright sound. Here's a regular non-ooh, just my mouth kind of in its resting position. Right? And now I'm going to do a ooh and really like open everything up in the throat and the back. And you're going to hear it darken. Boom, right? So somebody's just requesting Girl from Ipanema. So here it is with like a darker sound. Especially if you can do that big ooh thing down in the low notes, you're going to get kind of a subtone. You'll get a foofy dark sound. Like. My saxophone friends know what I'm talking about. If I played that as a regular shape in my mouth and a regular bright sound, it would sound. And then here's the subtone. So there's definitely a difference. And I'd play around with that. If you're working on overtones and kind of getting crazy sounds, that's a good place to start, of literally working on the overtone series. Oh, I'm messing it up. And slur between them. So you can do the tonguing version, you can do the slurring version. And then after you can kind of get it to a point where it's just very fluid up in the higher range. Then you can really start to like go even higher and work your throat and try to put in your own type of overtones. Magnus is asking if I can play a bit of Fish and Chips. Absolutely. We played a little bit of that together yesterday. That's a really catchy song. I actually have the baritone with me too. I've been having a lot more fun playing some bari recently. How you guys doing? How's your Monday? So yeah, here's Barry. Rawr! Oh my god, I always just feel kind of beastly. It's like a big animal, you know what I mean? That was such a lame. That's more like a kitten. I hope you're screaming at the computer screen too. Somebody is asking if this is a YBS 62. It is! Yamaha YBS 62. Love these guys. Is that a good volume? If you're on YouTube and Facebook, we got a track going. Instagram, you can hear it on the other channels. I got a loop going, guys. It's been one thing I've been working on this week that's been a lot of fun is trying to get my bass lines on baritone a lot more funky. And I think a lot of the really cool Barry bass lines have a lot of passing tones in between. So let's see, I came up with something the other day. I can play it for you. Was that it? I don't remember actually. Let's say. Yeah, actually, sorry, it was in a different key. Let's see if I can make it funky. The other thing is you need to give yourself enough space so I don't keep bumping the bell. Something like that. So it's really fun to do all the kind of like all the in-betweens, right? Because the original would maybe just be like hey. And that's totally cool. It's super solid. The most important thing about laying down a bass line is that you're staying in time and you're grooving. But once you kind of got that, then you can kind of put those frostings in. So I think the best thing to do with these is, especially when you're playing an instrument like the baritone, is just put a metronome on or a beat like I was doing in GarageBand. You can just literally put on some loops, and it gets to this very hypnotic, meditative place. I was telling that to a student of mine recently. I was like, you've got to play the long tones and just get into the Zen meditative space, and then it's fun, you know? Like if you can do scales and you're like kind of in this weird, relaxed, meditative space and not getting too frustrated, then it's fun-ish. I have a love-hate relationship with scales, but they need to be done. So go practice your scales. So yeah, Magnus got to say Barry. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Love it. Somebody's asking why we are doing a Sunny Sundays live stream on a Monday. That is a very good question. No, it's just usually it is on Sunday, but sometimes my schedule, if I am touring or doing something on that Sunday, then I kind of have to reschedule for another night. So I guess I should have called it Monday live stream, but I've been sticking with Sundays. So there you go. That's the answer. Instinct 22 from YouTube. I'm really glad you love the live streams. I really enjoy hanging out with you guys too. So, you know, I had some good questions come in this week from online friends. And if you have any questions, hit me up now while we're live so that I can answer them. By the way, there's some cool things coming up. I've been working on a new cover, and that video will be up soon. We recorded all of it. My boyfriend and I recorded all of the video in my music room, and I actually recorded all the audio in the music studio, which is really exciting. Hi, Thomas on Facebook. Manic Mondays. Is it a Manic Monday? Yeah, actually, I feel that. I totally feel that. Hi, Steven. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm traveling to Texas over the weekend and playing a festival. So that'll be a lot of fun. And this week is kind of like um, doing the things, all the things, working on some new material. And it was a whirlwind of a weekend having the guys here working on too sexy stuff and just kind of like now it's important to have a little decompressing time. We didn't clock in that much sleep over the weekend, so I'll probably have an early night tonight. Hi, Bolt Electro on YouTube. Hi from Miami Valley Jazz Camp. That's awesome. Tanner, Ladybird. Is that the one? I haven't played Ladybird in so long. That's a great one. Lots of cool changes in it. Hi, Diego. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you so much, Sax Official on Instagram. You guys are so sweet. So yeah, kind of going back to some of the questions from this week. Let's see. One of them I was asked is, what's the difference between a recording artist and a performing artist? So this is a great question because I really do think of recording and performing as very different beasts. I was very grateful. I'm lucky that I got to grow up in the recording studio in a way. I made my first album when I was 12 years old, and I remember the first time I saw a mixer and a microphone, I was like, oh my God, it was crazy. Just like to be in an ISO booth and then like see the other musicians and hear their sound so clearly. So that was just kind of like blew my mind. That was many years ago. And I think the thing about being in a recording studio is all of the subtleties, whether I'm playing or I'm singing, they're coming through very closely on the microphone. So if I'm out of tune in a moment, or if I'm, if my vibrato is not what I thought it was in my head, as soon as we play that playback button, it's all really amplified. It's kind of like, it's just like the most detail that you get to hear. And I think it's a great thing to practice recording yourself. Even if you have very basic equipment at home, you could literally plug in a mic and then record yourself on GarageBand and put on a track and just solo with it. And then I highly recommend listening back because you're going to hear a lot more little things when you are amplified on a microphone in a quiet recording studio setting versus when you're out on stage in a performance setting. So when I'm recording, I'm really able to also work the mic. And what I mean by that is if you listen to any great Billie Holiday, God, I love her. In her recording, she actually can sing really quietly. And the gain on the mic can be a lot louder. So you like hear all those little articulations, I cover the waterfront. You, in a recording studio, you'd be able to hear all the I walk through the sea. And all the little moments of those very intimate moments, actually. And on saxophone, too, you might be able to hear all the breath work. And I actually love it when people mix the saxophone so that you hear all the clicks. It's a very intimate sound, especially on ballads. And then in live performance, it's a very different energy. It's much more celebrating the energy of the moment. And like I love being a very dynamic performer and jumping up and down. And there's often just like sweat and everybody's so much kind of at the end of the day, performers and audience walk away remembering the feeling. So I think in those cases, if there's bound to be things that are out of tune and like, and it's not so much detail oriented. It's more about like just playing the energy. And I've listened to plenty of live recordings of myself being like, whoa, it's, I thought I played it right and it sounded like completely different, but in the moment, it's very raw. So I guess the biggest difference is like being a recording artist, it's all about details and being very specific and like hearing all the intimate moments. And then in performance, it's raw and like I'm feeling the energy. That's what it is to me. Obviously, it's different to everyone. Jonathan is saying on YouTube, sax ASMR. Exactly. Yeah, that's there you go. All those intimate subtle sounds. Shady, thank you very much. Um, so we got some questions coming in. Instinct022 is saying, what software do you use to use loops and add chord progressions to practice? I've been using Logic. That's my main one. And I'll literally just put on like what I just played you guys is some Logic loops that are right in the program. I've also been using sounds.com, Arcade, which is the company Output. They have their own sample library. And I know there's another one called Splice that a lot of people use. So yeah, that's a good place to start. But really, like, you could do it, pull up GarageBand, and just like make some beats, put the loops on. Okay, so we got a question on Instagram. What are some ways I can work on improving my amateur on sax? That's a great question, and it's actually something that I wanted to get into for all my saxophone players, which, by the way, if we have saxophone players, hearts, I'd love to see how many of you there are. And hopefully for the rest of you, this isn't getting too nerdy. So one thing that is really important for everybody learning instruments, and vocalists as well, is to learn your scales, learn your theory. It's kind of like a very slow process, but if I say, like, play a C major scale, you need to be able to... without thinking twice. I'd say the next thing that's really good to practice is doing all of those in thirds. And I would literally put the metronome on. I don't have a metronome on me right now, but put it on at a slow tempo. Always do everything slow first and then speed it up. But you want to learn everything under your fingers correctly. So you can never go too slow. So it would kind of sound like... Are all these hard saxophonists on Instagram? That's fantastic. So you really want to practice that in a methodical way. And you got a lot of work to do because you got to do it in all the keys. And then I would say practice your fourths. So it's going to sound like... all the way up and then all the way down. Right, with a metronome. And then once you get the fourths down under your fingers, you're going to start creating shapes and patterns like... And then if you combine thirds and fourths... Literally, that's all thirds, my friends. Well, okay, there's a few other notes in there, but primarily working on triads. So I'd say like 95% of my improvisation is stemming from triads and kind of like chromatic approach and all that. I got a friend on Twitch. Hey, the Tokyo Ghoul. I don't know that song. I guess I should learn it. That sounds cool. Yeah. So, Diego is saying that iRealB is great. Yeah, there's an app that you guys can also pull up that you can transpose the keys, learn standards and stuff like that. That's definitely a great tip. One of my students uses that when he improvises. It's great how you can change the keys. Hi, Amanda. Okay, and so we got some questions about how I get the sound I want on saxophone. So that's a very personal thing of like creating your own tone and your sound. And my biggest piece of advice for all of you developing that is to listen. Just listen to tons of recordings and literally like create a playlist of some of your favorite saxophonists and their sounds. Off the top of my head, players that I've listened to a lot in my childhood and kind of shaped my sound around were Johnny Hodges, Cannonball Adderley, Stan Getz, Paul Desmond, Lee Conants, Phil Woods, Johnny Hodges. And then the list goes on to contemporary people, you know, Joshua Redman, people alive today, Miguel Zenon, Kenny Garrett. There's a long list of names. And that's just saxophonist. Obviously, like musically, I've been influenced by a lot of different instruments, but those are some great legendary names to start out with. And really tone and sound comes a lot from up here. Like I was saying earlier, saxophone is a very vocal instrument. Like you actually manipulate your throat to create the sounds. So it's a wild thing that when you hear something, you can mimic it. Obviously, we can all do that with voice. You know, if we hear a sound or a tone or we want to like imitate somebody, we can do that. It's literally the same thing on the horn. So definitely give that a try and let me know how it's going. Jake on YouTube. I have not heard Marius. We should check out his music. Thank you for the line. Frank Morgan, yes. My mom is reminding me. Frank Morgan was he's a very big saxophone inspiration, and I got to spend a lot of time with him. He was my musical grandfather. I was actually in a documentary of his about his life called Sound of Redemption. Definitely check that out. It's on iTunes. Hello, Dale Bartlett. Thank you for joining us. Very, very cool. Thomas, yeah, absolutely. All the subdued noises are the most naturalistic sounds. And in a way, like my favorite thing is hearing instruments unamplified, because then you really hear like the acoustic, beautiful sound. Unfortunately, you know, well, whatever, fortunately so that we can hear it, but we have to be mic'd up for performance and for recording. But there's something so beautiful about just standing next to somebody and like literally hearing their sound. Saxum official. This is real reeds. I'm a Van Doren artist, so they're a Java box, green Java box size 2.5. I can't really play plastic or synthetic reeds. I love the idea of it, of like literally not having to worry about the different temperamental things about the wood and the reed, but I just don't get the sound I want. Friend from Japan, fantastic, so cool. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. I got some other loops going on. What else do we have on Logic? Come on, loud. Hey, that's pretty funky. It feels like a funky Monday evening. Ooh, hey, yeah. Got some loops on Logic happening. Got some friends tuned in. Watching. Yeah, it's a little Herbie Hancock. um, by the way, Instagram friends, if you ever want to hear the full stream with the backing tracks and everything, that's happening on my YouTube channel. We got literally like bass and drums bumping under. Yeah, so, oh, thank you. You like my earrings. That's so nice. Okay, there was a really good question that came in a minute ago. Jeffrey is asking, how did you decide to marry the musicality of jazz culture and the performance aspects of pop culture, dancing, secondary technique? How do you prioritize / organize rehearsals with your band? Those are really great questions. Thank you, Jeffrey. Wow, making me think about all the intricate, interesting stuff. So the thing I love most about the jazz genre is the art of improvisation. I mean, I've always been kind of an out-of-the-box kid from when I was really little, and I would make up stories and skits and dances. And still to this day, like I'm perfectly happy just sitting in a room and daydreaming, walking outside, thinking of all these songs and singing melodies in my head. So that aspect of improvisation is super attractive to me. The idea that I can basically say, I'm feeling sad, and then I can play sadness. Or, I'm feeling super happy. There's so many different happies, right? Like that's one version of the happy sound. Another version could be and that aspect of improvisation and of jazz is so much in my blood that it's been something that, as I've gone about my career ever since I was 12 years old and recorded my first album, it's just become the way I breathe and create music. And I guess the other things that you were mentioning, Jeffrey, about my performance art, which is integrating dance and, other like, wearing bright colors and things that are more pop culture, is just because I really enjoy all of those things myself. I love watching dance videos. I've been dancing since I was young. I love fashion. And I think that being an artist is one of the most liberating things because we're really able to express ourselves. Well, hopefully we're able to. That's definitely my goal, to be able to, hear the music that's in my head and then bring it to all of you. And then the colors and the things that I'm seeing, also be able to bring that to you in whatever way I can, which is either, whether it's dance moves or something that I'm wearing. By the way, I got this the other day. It's so cool. It's a snake. So I actually, I'm digressing, but I had a photo shoot yesterday with Sheesh and Leo, and like I can literally put the snake on my saxophone, which looks pretty sick. Right? Does anyone else think so? I also think that there should be a mic that is created, because I know some of you on Instagram are asking if this is a mic. It's not, but it's like literally the same shape that it almost could be on top of my mic. So maybe I should create that line. I was also can wear it as a necklace. So some of the pictures that I posted yesterday on Instagram have the snake on it. It's definitely not supposed to be a necklace. It's like a bracelet, but at this point I've stretched it out so much that it's chilling on my desk. I think she's snakealicious. So back to your question, Jeffrey. That's definitely, all of those pop aspects are just because I really love that look and that vibe. And I think there's no reason that it has to just be in pop music. I think it's great to be able to bring that colorfulness and that performance art into jazz, and then merge that improvisation aspect that I love so much. And that becomes a very authentic expression for me. That is a fantastic question. How do I prioritize and organize rehearsals with my band. Believe it or not, my band actually doesn't really rehearse anymore. Once in a while we do, but most of my band members have been playing with me for like several years and literally know my whole book of music. And if we are going to work on a new song, many times we'll work on it on tour in soundcheck, and then we'll just keep working on it in soundcheck until it's ready, and then we'll put it into the set. And there's something like very exciting. The adrenaline is just pumping when that happens because everything could go wrong. But I think learning on stage is definitely the fastest way to do it because there's pressure, right? People are like watching. And also, I find that I learn things the fastest when I have a deadline of like, oh my God, we're going to play it tonight. And if it comes out wrong, then we're just going to improvise around it. So when I do have new band members on, we definitely rehearse and I send them my PDFs and MP3s and videos, and they get to check that out. I'm having a rehearsal with a couple new musicians this week. And it's always a lot of fun to hear what other musicians bring to the table when I hire them to be in my band, because many times they just bring their own flavor, and I always want people to bring their own flavor because that's what makes it exciting, you know. I think it's great for people to study my music, and then I always tell them like, all right, now and put your own thing on it too, because I want to hear what that is. So those are great questions. Thank you for that. Oh my God, you guys are still watching. Sherry, the snake is sneaky. Yes. The snake is very sneaky. My sister is saying, did I know that Ariana Grande got a pig? I actually did not know that, but that's very interesting. I was listening to her earlier. She's amazing. I heard the other day, my friend was, or maybe it was Pasha, he was telling me that he was walking around New York and he literally saw a couple with a pig. Maybe it was Ariana Grande. Actually, I think he would have noticed that. But like, yeah, they literally just had a pet pig and a leash, which is wild. I kind of wish I have a stuffed animal pig. It's funny you should mention pig because her name's Aurora and she is totally a diva. I might be the only one. Actually, I'm curious if you guys do this. I literally come up with voices for my stuffed animals. You're welcome, Jeffrey. I'm so glad that was helpful. Oh, you're a music teacher. Fantastic. Thank you for what you do. Having great teachers is the greatest gift of all. I've been incredibly blessed to have the best teachers and mentors. So what you do and the inspiration you bring to your students is so, so important. So thank you. Amanda, have you ever thought about touring in Canada? I have only been to Canada a few times. We played the Toronto Jazz Fest, the Montreal Jazz Fest. Oh, that was fantastic. We did that a few times. Nothing in the books right now, but is that where you're from? We gotta get back, definitely. Somebody was mentioning he had a song request. Steve from YouTube had a song request of. Bang, bang into the room. Bang, bang all for you. Let me take you Bang, bang into the room. Hey, bang, bang all over you. Hey, wait a minute, let me take you there. Wait a minute till you. Bang, bang, there goes your high. Ooh. Bang, bang, back to my car. Ooh. Wait a minute, let me take you there. Wait a minute till you. That's a great one. Jessie J is such a beast. It's kind of hard to sing a song she sings because she's just got so much swag. Hi, Nuka-Cola on Twitch. Thank you for joining. Nice to see you. That's a great one. Thank you for that song suggestion, Steve. So, anyways, yeah, those are some great questions, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and for asking and for sharing this live stream with your friends. As you guys know, I'm here hanging out on Sundays, although today's Monday. And probably next Sunday will end up being a Monday stream just because I'm traveling. I'll let you know. I do the scheduled posts on Facebook and YouTube. So if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll literally get an indication of when I'm going live. Oh my God, you guys are so funny. Dylan on Instagram is saying, glad to see you're playing the superior saxophone. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna just my alto saxophone is gonna pretend that she didn't hear you say that. Big Mama loves that you just said that. So anyways, guys, I have to sign off in like 5 minutes, but if you have any other song requests or questions while we're all still here, go for it. Let's see, I wrote down another question. Oh, somebody was asking me, how do I network and create opportunities in the music industry? So I think it's really important to not think of networking as networking and more like going out and supporting other artists that you enjoy, whether that's live in person or going on their Patreon or their Pledge Music or the Kickstarter, or literally DMing an artist you love, being like, love what you do, and just creating relationships that way in a very cohesive, I'm not a fan of networking. Like, I really don't like it when people come up to me and are just like, hey, how did you get this opportunity? And can we do this together? And I don't even know the person. It just feels really weird and kind of insincere to me. So I think the most important way to go about networking as a musician, because yes, it is important that, you know, the more people we have in our network and can call upon and recommend for gigs, like that's how you literally create a community. That's very important. But I think instead of thinking of it as kind of the sterile networking thing of like, I'm going to pass out my business card and you're going to give me your business card. By the way, why do we still have business cards? Like, I literally will just rather put someone's name and number into my phone because I always lose business cards. Anyways, don't give me a business card in the future. Just send me an email. But instead of doing that, you know, I think it's much more anything that feels more genuine, approaching another human being, whether you've checked out their music or whether you're a fan or whether you have mutual friends, just like starting a conversation is a much better way to create relationships and just like authentic moments. And if you're great at what you do and you're like practicing your craft and you're going out there and you're performing, you're going to jam sessions, and opportunities will naturally arise. And then it's kind of following up on those opportunities and building relationships with other people, creating friends. You know, a lot of times friends recommend other friends. And when I get a call for a gig or a friend recommends me, it's not 100% all about, you know, how technical you are on your instrument. It's also you're recommending that person because they're professional, and you know, someone who recommends me knows I'm going to show up on time for the gig and learn the music. And those are things I always think about when I'm hiring my bandmates as well. Just like, you know, there's a definitely important to learn the manners and the culture for being a professional musician. And those are big ones: showing up on time, being kind, learning the music, being all around professional, being open, not having any type of egotistical attitude, especially when you're playing someone else's music. But I think just in general, you know, there's no reason to have any type of attitude. We're all in this together and we're all artists and all that. So that's my suggestion for networking. Like, just continue doing your thing and meeting other people and having things happen organically, and supporting other artists that you love and connecting with them online or in person. And it's a beautiful thing when I get to meet someone that I have admiration for, and then like I hear back from them that they checked out my stuff and they love it, which is always a great surprise. Or, you know, we get to finally jam at a jam session. A lot of things have happened very just like not forcing it, very organically. And that's a beautiful thing. And when there's a strong connection to music, I have a great time collaborating with Leo P as an example. We just have a great time jamming together. It's a great cohesive vibe, and I'm glad all of you feel that online too. And then we just want to do more of it. So that's the way I like to network. Hopefully that's helpful to you guys. One more question. This is a good one. Dylan is asking on Instagram, what would be your suggestion for a beginner busker? I would say have some songs of yours ready, maybe some cover material. Literally have like a short set and then play it as professionally as you can. And use that time to also really work on your improvisation and whatever performance art you want to integrate. You know, it's especially the other thing about busking is inviting the audience in. I know in that case it's not like a typical audience sitting down and watching, but it's actually a harder thing to be a busker because to get someone's attention while they're walking and for them to like stop and watch you for more than a minute is like an amazing feat. So I would definitely like be aware of people walking by and trying to engage with them, but also like doing your thing and playing your set and working on your music. That's a great thing. All right, friends. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in on a Monday night. I'll let you know about the next live stream. I do them weekly. Again, if you have not found my YouTube, go on my channel, youtube.com/GraceKellyMusic, and hit the subscribe button so that you know whenever I'm going live. And I'll keep you guys posted. Meanwhile, thank you so much for all the great questions and song requests. It has been fun, Jonathan. Ciao, Diego. Good night. Hope you guys have a good one. I'm about to go cook some shrimp and zucchini, and I'm sending much love to you guys. Okay, here's my sad noise for leaving you. But I'll be back. Bye, Instagram. If you can make your own self, if you can make yourself laugh when you practice, that's a good thing, right? Okay, ciao, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.